The National Student Financial Aid Scheme, NSFAS, is celebrating its 30-year anniversary this year. The organization's funding has grown from disbursing 21.4 million rand to almost 50 billion rand in order to aid poor yet deserving individuals seeking to further their studies in public universities and TVET colleges. Well, let's discuss NSFAS now. I'm joined by the chairperson of the board of NSFAS, Ernest Khosa. Mr. Khosa, good afternoon. Welcome to today.
Good afternoon, Praden, and good afternoon to the viewers.
Is it okay to say happy 30th anniversary?
Oh, yes, thank you. So as you can see, I'm in a very jubilant mood today. Jubilant in that we're celebrating the 30th anniversary of NSFAS, celebrating an organization that has grown from a humble budget of 21 billion to 50 billion, from servicing 7,000 students to now servicing close to 1 million students. The resilience of our staff, the firmness of our shareholder. Yes, I am indeed in a very jubilant.
But as you celebrate, you have to pause and reflect on the journey and its challenges. I mean, it's not been a smooth one.
Yes. It has not been a smooth one in many respects. The originators of NSFAS couldn't have foreseen some of the problems that we came across. Problems related to the demand for funds. As I said earlier on, it was a very small outfit when it started. Problems related to the need to grow the base of funding, not only for those that come from what we call very poor background, to what we call missing middle, which, as you know, led to those protests during the fees must fall movement. So lots of problems. And
problems of fraud?
Of course, problems of fraud. As you know, we now have very famous guests at the institution, the SIU, who are coming to investigate fraud.
How's that going? How's that investigation? In terms, I saw the statement that you issued at the time when it was announced that the president had approved the proclamation for the SIU to investigate NSFAS.
First and foremost, the SIU enjoys our support. Remember that they came there at our instance, so we the complainants. It's at the very early stages of the investigation. Is going very well, and we believe that they will recover lots and lots of funds.
Yeah, there's already one lot, that 33 million recovered from the North Link College.
From North Link College. Yes. We believe there'll be lots and lots of further recoveries. They've got our full support, and we believe this is going to deter fraudsters from tampering with our system. As you know, NSFAS is an elephant. You know, moving 50 billion rands per annum is not small feat at all. So wherever there's a ray of light, there'll be lots of cockroaches.
Was it finger trouble in that case of that young student in the Cape where she ended up with 14 million instead of a small? Was it a NSFAS problem or was it not?
No. It was not a NSFAS problem. It had to do with a service provider
who had received the money from NSFAS? Not
well at the end of the day, but we had received the money from Walter Sisulu University.
Okay. So there's another intermediary.
That we must clarify. This accounts for the reason why we were no parties at the legal case between the student and...
You are the chairperson of the board.
Yes.
Your job is not operational. You oversee, you ensure there's good governance, and you hold the executive to account. Are you satisfied with what the executive has presented to you as a board about internal controls? Because sometimes if you don't have a framework for good internal controls, that's where monies can go missing. I'm
satisfied about a few very fundamental things. The first is I'm satisfied with the performance of the CEO that we have appointed. Remember, for some time, NSFAS did not have a CEO. I'm satisfied with the fact that we now have a functioning internal audit department, which was not the case. I'm satisfied that we now have a corporate secretariat, which was not there. Remember, at some point, NSFAS was run by the administrator. So we're making lots of it's not going to be easy. I must
yeah, but the changes you are making, will they enable proper disbursement to the deserving students?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, they will.
So now, when you hear the AG Tsakani Maluleka saying that there's 77.5 billion rand of irregular expenditure in the year 2021 at NSFAS. How do you respond to her?
I think that comes from years before that. I think 2020 to be exact. We're working very closely with the Auditor General, and one of the issues that we're dealing with is reconciliation of funds that were sent to universities over a long period of time from 2016, which funds were not reconciled until today. So our relationship with the Auditor General is a good one.
But are you concerned? Your AfriForum Youth has opened a case against NSFAS in terms of the alleged misappropriation of funds.
Our attitude to all civil organizations is that we should work with them, whether it's AfriForum Youth, whether it's OUTA, whether it's any other civil organization. You know, we welcome them into assisting us.
Yeah, but they've opened a case, my understanding.
Yes,
they've laid a charge.
I haven't really looked at the details of the case.
Okay, maybe the executive team should bring you up to speed, because what it says is that there's been alleged misappropriation of funds, that the irregular expenditure is largely needs to be addressed as a misappropriation.
You're talking about irregular expenditure. There's a big difference between you know, misappropriation of funds and irregular expenditure. I've heard about the figure 70 billion.
Yes. Is that correct?
No, it can be correct that there's fraud up to 70 billion, to my understanding. That will only happen the day pigs will fly.
Okay, I've been seeing this expression quite a lot recently. Okay, now, do you have enough cash reserves? Do you have any? A few months ago, I saw a report saying you no longer have any cash reserves. Is NSFAS has it built up some cash reserves? Or
we used to have cash reserves. The reason why we don't have cash reserves now is because of the extended academic year, because of COVID.
Of the pandemic.
And I think that led to the problems that we had at the beginning of the academic year. That has since been resolved. Our shareholder, the Department of Education, collaborating with Treasury, have given us certainty that in the coming 3 years we won't have such a problem. So we're quite
comfortable. So students can
yes.
I understand that NSFAS doesn't just fund any course at TVET colleges and at public universities. I mean, we live in a fast-changing world where, for example, digital skills are required. What's the approach there? I mean, on what grounds can students be turned down in terms of courses, not in terms of whether they qualify or not for NSFAS funding?
Yeah, in general, we fund all students who qualify. And
for whatever course? Yes,
the key variable there is that the family income should be not more than 350,000 rands
per year.
We do that, which is quite a rarity. You know, if you look at all other student funding organizations across the world, you don't find such generosity.
So you don't exclude students on the basis of the courses they choose to study?
Not yet. I think that's something that needs to be debated, because what I think we need to consider at one point or the other, it's the contribution of whatever we fund to economic and social development in the country. I think we should really align that. But that is a debate for another day.
Okay, finally, Mr. Khosa, before I let you go, final question. Some critics say NSFAS has failed because of the issues around, for example, alleged fraud, and that not every student is benefiting, and you've had challenges, as you've said, of governance and all of that. How would you characterize NSFAS today?
NSFAS hasn't failed. NSFAS has been very successful. If you look at just by mere looking at the number of beneficiaries, I mean close to 1 million, which is half the public institutions' student enrollment. So you can't say they have failed. If you look at where we come from 7,000 to 1 million, if you look at, if I were to be colloquial, if you can look at the amounts of money that NSFAS moves per month towards the benefit of the students, you can't characterize NSFAS as...
Can you assure South Africans that the days of bad governance, the days of fraud, and the days of irregular expenditure are over at NSFAS?
I want to assure all South Africans that NSFAS is a good board constituted by well-qualified members. It has got a good CEO, it has got good management. We're committed to governance. We're committed to working with all stakeholders, the AG, the portfolio committee, the shareholder, even students.
But the students are the main ones in this whole equation.
They are the ultimate beneficiary. That's why we talk about what we call a student-centered model. This is the only board in the history of NSFAS that has gone to an extent of visiting individual universities to discuss what problems are there and how that can be resolved better.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khosa, for that. We won't get into too much of the operations because you are not the CEO. But hopefully, as the year is ending, we know 2023 is upon us. NSFAS will be engaging with the media at that operational level. That's Ernest Khosa. He is the chairperson of the board of NSFAS.